If you've never seen Tron, there are three of them. 1982, the original Tron. Video game programmer fighting against getting his games stolen is pulled into the computer using high-tech new wave laser technology. It's the first metaverse before there was a metaverse. It's the first immersion. And he fights and he wins, of course, because it's a Disney movie.
Original geek, that's who I am. Rolling 20s with my squad, we got a plan. Marvel heroes on the wall, D&D dice in hand. Original geek, across the land. Level up, never gonna give it up.
All right, welcome to Original Geek. This is the podcast for anybody who rolled dice in a basement, waited all night long for comic book covers to download, and proudly wore that label of geek back when it could get you shoved into a locker. Each week, we're going to dive deep into what it meant to be a geek in the 70s and 80s and what that compares to today's pop culture multiverse. We're your hosts. We're two of the Gen X survivors who didn't just watch geek culture evolve. We lived through every awkward phase. Hi, I'm Steve Scarfo.
And I'm Jeff Shaw, and we'll be your identity dis for today's deadly game. What's our topic today, Steve?
All right, well, today we're talking about Tron, and we are entering the grid.
Nice.
I will very quickly point out my new artwork that Jeff saw before we started that I've never changed.
If you're watching on video,
meant to. You
get little nuggets like that.
It's a tiny little nugget, but it's there. There's a little picture of Tron behind me. So we have been talking a lot about how things evolve. We'll talk about some evolution later, but we both have been fans of this franchise for a long time.
I'm going to stop you right there.
No. Oh, see, already a misconception. Don't
Now,
make me canon correct anything. Just get me out of the gate.
It's confusing because I'm going to come to the first Tron 1982's defense in Geek Court. But I want to say that when I first saw Tron as a kid, I was confused. Now I was 12 years old, and I thought I was a smart 12-year-old. But after watching this, I was just confused. I found it confused. I thought it was visually amazing. And that I was a fan of like the toys and stuff, the video game, most of the components of it, but I just didn't get it. And then when they brought it back, what was it, 2012 when Legacy came out? And then there was a Tron life cycle ride built in Shanghai Disneyland.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of like Gretchen Wiener and Mean Girls with Fetch. Like she kept trying to make Fetch happen.
Yes.
I was just like, why do they keep trying to make Tron happen? Tron's never going to happen. And
Tron Legacy was 2010.
2010, okay. So I thought that Disney was trying to make something that it wasn't. Because for me, because I didn't get it. I wasn't part of that cult following of Tron. I thought it looked cool, 100% cool looking, but I didn't get it at the time.
Yeah,
so I've become a late huge fan.
A Johnny come lately, no less.
Yes.
I was
jumping on the
reverse.
bandwagon, jumping on the light cycle late.
I was the reverse. And actually, I'm going in the opposite direction. You started as not much of a fan and become a fan. And I guess I still am a fan. But if we're speaking specifically about Tron, the original Tron in 1982, when it came out, I was just a year older than you, so I was 13. But I loved it. It was the ultimate escapism. The very first siege, I believe very close to, I have to double check. I have a note somewhere about it. It's often considered the very first CGI movie, and it was certainly the first movie that did that much, not just CGI, but like out of reality recording, right? It wasn't, there was no volumes. There was no, I assume they used green screens, but
right.
It wasn't
is
like
considered the first CGI, but in your, in the research, apparently Westworld in 1972, or I found this somewhere, like Westworld apparently had a CGI component in one little part of it. But this was
Yeah.
a CGI movie.
I don't think
mean,
you could say that that's a thing then. It's like saying they're the first one to use special effects because there was a blood pack and then, another
yeah,
movie that's nothing but special effects is not the first.
yeah.
It's a technicality at best. We're not going to split that here. This was the first movie to use entire environments, right?
Hmm.
It-
Yeah.
on rewatch, baby, it was a stinker. I
Don't
still
make me come to its defense yet.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Hold
We're gonna
off,
get to court.
man.
We're already jumping into our flashback kind of stuff. So I'm gonna back off a little bit. Let's talk about what it is. If you've never seen Tron, there are three of them. 1982, the original Tron. The a video game programmer fighting against getting his games stolen. Is pulled into the computer using high-tech new wave laser technology. It's the first metaverse before there was a metaverse. It's the first immersion. And he fights and he wins, of course, because it's a Disney movie. And then in 2010 was Tron Legacy. Again, same kind of thing. But now it's his son that shows up. And I'm not going to go do full bios on these movies. And then just last week, Jeff and I both went and saw Tron Ares, where Tron comes to our world.
Mhm.
And one of the things they've done, I think, really well is the technology of the time matches what they're showing in the movies. In 82, what they did was cutting edge. And in 2010, what
Yeah.
they did was cutting edge. And now they're talking in Tron Ares, they're talking about AI and the evolution of sentient programming. And so I thought it was all I did like that part of it. Now, this saying that the original Tron only used 15 to 20 minutes of actual computer-generated imagery. The rest was backlit animation and rotoscope. So I don't know. I guess because of the scale of some of the scenes, they were all like the light cycle obviously had to be full CGI,
Yeah.
but
And then
maybe
the
all of
solar
those
sail would have been full.
full CGI.
And all the recognizer, like tanks and flying ships and things.
Yeah, the MCP, the big red spinning head, he
Yeah.
had to be all CGI.
I know our notes and our research says that, but I do wonder if maybe they just counted what of original content, because obviously you're gonna reuse certain scenes, right? And so maybe one view of the recognizer flying in is repurposed in another moment, and it doesn't count as another minute of CGI.
I mean, now I want to go back and watch it again just to find out, because I guess I could see it, because there's, when you edit a movie, it's like a 4-second clip of the solar sail at a distance. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then they cut inside and they have a long dialogue, and then they cut back and forth for a second here and a second there. And it really could only be actually 15 to 20 minutes, but it's intercut throughout the whole movie. So we'll have to get back to you on that and make sure that's real. But I'm not going to call it a correction, but maybe a confirmation.
One thing I liked learning about this original film is that, of course now his name's escaping me. Lisberger, I think, the man who wrote it, created it.
Oh yeah, I think so.
So he initially envisioned this as a fully animated piece. So it was just CGI. It was just animation. It was there was going to be no real people in it. And when he pitched his concept, studios were just laughing at him, and Disney took a chance, but they would only do it if it was a combination of the CGI, the animation, and real people. So it got in. So the reason we have this blended, because I honestly think an animated creation would have been successful for an animated feature, but then it would have gone away. I think the only reason we have, Tron having the impact it did is because of that blending of using real people and CGI.
Yeah, and Disney had I was doing a quick side Google here. They had a history of movies like this, right? Mary Poppins, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Pete's
Oh
Dragon,
yeah.
Bedknobs and Broomsticks. These were things that they had done, but they
Oh
did them with
yeah.
traditional animation. Um, and that doesn't surprise. I did not know that, but it doesn't surprise me to hear that they were like, okay, well, we do this. We interleave, but this is new because it's computer generated and not traditionally animated, right? I'm sure
Yeah.
the animators at the time were up in arms. Um, but that's cool. I did not know
That's
that.
true. They actually were. They were the rightly. I saw that too. That the animation team at Disney, they were not happy about Tron.
Oh no, they'd be pissed off because they're losing their jobs to
Yeah.
technology, right? Like in '82, people were worried about the same thing they are today, which is the computers are coming for my job.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so
Shall
we're
we
blending
flash
a little bit
back?
of flashback. Yeah, we're blending
Let's do it.
flashback. So let's just dive in.
Let's take a trip through time. It's a geek flashback.
All right. So I want to flash back to the arcade game, which was actually more financially successful than the movie, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I just thought once again it looked cool. It had the joystick was not your regular joystick.
Right.
It had that same, for those, I'm sure if you're listening to this, Tron. So the look, that kind of glowing look to it. And the joystick was kind of a clearish plastic with a blue glow, as I recall. Do I have it right? Okay.
I believe so. Yeah, I'm
And
gonna see
the
if I can get an
cabinet,
image.
so it had that whole Tron aesthetic. I think is, I know we'll talk later about evolution and its impact, but I feel like that had a huge impact, and it just looked like, what a great design. So I was excited, and it had 4 games in one, 2 of which I liked, 2 that I did not, and actually, and only one of them I was good at. I was only there was a tank game, a cycle game,
Mhm.
a disc game where you've got to kind of it's kind of like well, not Tetris, but like it's coming down at the Tron. You're playing Tron and you're throwing
Yeah,
discs to destroy the colored barrier that's being loaded, because you got to escape into. Oh, nice. Yeah, there's the joystick. For those who are watching the YouTube, yeah, it's that style. It looked amazing. And so the joystick
this is
was
why
like a
you guys
flight
have to
stick,
watch
like
us.
like you'd see in a flight simulator, with a trigger and an additional button. Um, and then there was another where there's like spiders are coming out and you're throwing the discs at the spiders.
Yeah.
I was bad at all of those except for the tank game, and that was not an option. In order to go to the next level, you had to beat all 4. So I didn't play it a lot, but I thought it looked cool, and I loved the tank game aspect.
I did pretty well. I actually loved the video game, and I think we talked about this after we saw Ares, which we'll get to. That I did not realize they came out at the same time. I thought the game was because of the movie, and really they were released together. And as you've already pointed out, the game was actually, it earned like 4 times the amount of money the movie did. It just didn't do well in its time. But I loved the light cycle game. It was my favorite part. I did okay enough to play it enough. Like I never got through like all the levels, but I could do the first few levels of the tanks and the spiders and the block blaster, for lack of a better term. That's essentially what it was. Um, I do think it's funny. One of the notes that we got while we were going through this was that you know, it was felt to be pointed out that we should say that the identity discs that you used in the game, which were so cool in the game, in the movie were just frisbees that they painted with neon paint. Like, yeah, I think we could tell if you've ever seen the original Tron. Like it says whammo on the side. It's almost that bad. Um, But yeah, I loved this game. I think for a lot of the same reasons, the cool, like it was a cutting edge look. Like every other game was Pac-Man and Donkey Kong, and they had 8 or 16-bit, maybe 32-bit graphics. You know, they were pretty good. We've talked about games like Dragon's Lair that used a video disc, so it was very much ahead of its time for animation. But in terms of graphics, it was one of the first ones, you know, to leverage lower level graphics but make them look really, really clean.
Yeah, I wanted to be good at these games, but they're very anxiety inducing. So anyone who likes a really fast paced game, they'll like that. But I always got bad at that when, because that's what, like Pac-Man, those of you who've played it, every level it just gets a little bit harder and faster, and it's just I start to panic
Yeah.
and make bad decisions.
I can hear, I'll have to put an overlay in. I can hear the music from the video game in my head right now. Do, 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 do,
Well, it's the
do.
same as the soundtrack for Tron, which was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I thought all 3 Tron soundtracks were great. Wendy something or other, she was a really well-known composer. She did the Tron one. I'm trying to see if I
Tron
can
Legacy.
no, she was Tron 1982. Daft Punk, who did Tron Legacy and were featured in it, in that kind of bar lounge scene.
They were actually,
the DJs.
that's
Daft
them. Oh,
Punk.
that's too funny. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
And then it was the 9 Inch Nails did the Aries
Yeah.
soundtrack. I thought all 3 were great.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a lot about 82. We haven't talked a lot about 2010 in the Legacy, but you're right. One of the highlights, I think, even in the advertising for Ares, it was almost advertised as a great visual movie with awesome music.
I know.
It was almost like
it was weird.
They were
actually.
advertising it as a cool like music video, even though MTV just died, which we might have to do a whole section on, a whole episode on. But I don't know if you heard that they're shutting down MTV for good.
No.
Yeah, they're going off the air.
Yeah. Okay. It definitely needed an MTV episode. That's for sure.
Because it started, I think, in the same year, like early 80s.
Yeah, 1980,
82.
I think. Yeah.
Anyway, a little digression, but like in 82, like, again, we talked about Pac-Man, Commodore 64, which we've had in a whole episode about the computers. But in 2010, and in the rewatch, I felt it was so much of a better movie. If you watch the original Tron, the plot line, if you can call it that,
Don't you dare get into Geek Court yet.
Oh, okay.
We're almost there.
We're almost there.
We can
All
make
right.
the transition, actually.
Let's just jump in, because I am
just do
dying to talk about this movie.
Let's just do it.
All right, here we go.
The fandom is divided. It's time for Geek Court.
You're chomping at the bit, so
I am. I'm
it.
ready to go. I watched this movie a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, for the first time in probably 20 years. And the plot line for this movie is so thinly strung together. And it's very, it reminds me of that Plinko game. Remember the old game from the TV show? You put the thing on the top and it goes ping, 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 ping. That's what the plotline transitions felt like. It wasn't like a smooth story with lots of exposition and character growth. Like, I didn't see, there was no character growth in any of these people. They all sort of, they won what they wanted to win, but they were certainly not like evolving as characters, which I do love a good character arc. But it felt like the whole plot was like literally plinking along. Plink, 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 plink. We got stolen. We broke in. We got put into the computer. We got to fight. I'm already here. Oh no, he's dead. Like, it's that, like, everything is just bang, 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 which I guess at the time was good. But whoo, and don't even get me started on the graphic. And I'm going to say that one more time, the graphic, because that's what it felt like. It was, everything was one color with a red outline. All right, I'll stop for a second.
All right. So what I will not defend the plot. I won't. What I will defend is that well, first of all, the graphics. And I feel like you're having a hard time putting yourself back because you actually liked this when it
I
came
did.
out. So go back in that mindset. At that time, those were cutting edge for having that there was the first. It was the first movie with those types of graphics. And the idea was not to make it look real, because the what was so groundbreaking for that time, and I did not appreciate it then because I couldn't envision the way they could. Like they were brilliant. There was no internet that was public internet at this time. So this idea of a grid that all of these different programs lived on and communicated with, there was no cyberspace, there was no virtual reality.
Right.
There were no games. And you pointed that out, like the Tron video game, like didn't look, looked really good for its time. Like Pac-Man and like our Defender, like these were very basic, very like it wasn't, there was nothing in that movie graphically that was any worse than what was going on. And the entire idea, the concept of essentially the Matrix, decades before the Matrix, and certainly roughly a decade before we had a public internet, and
Oh,
this
yeah.
entire concept of a grid, like that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So
So don't get me wrong. Conceptually, I agree with you. It is the first. I mean, it's the first metaverse, right? It's the first look of what it would be like to live in the computer, and I wonder, and I imagine that set the stage for whatever VR looks like today, right? This interaction between, their favorite line to reuse in every movie. Somebody inevitably says "Greetings, programs," right? It's usually Jeff Bridges, but the idea that they could be in the computer, and you're right, it was the first computer graphics. So I'm not trying to take any of that away from the cutting edge of what it did. It's just, and maybe it's because I'm in my 2025 brain looking at this 1982 movie going, holy crap, what was I in love with? But you're right, I'm not taking myself back where I should be. But it's hard to turn off that, oh my God, what are we doing here? And we talked a little bit about 2010 and the transition of Jeff Bridges' character from 82 to 2010. Now, granted, it's roughly 30 years between movies.
yeah.
So he became, he was well past the dude and all that from his first role there.
Yeah,
But
so I just feel like the impact of Tron lifts it up, and what it did for CGI, what it did as far as the groundbreaking concepts of artificial intelligence, the grid, aka the cloud, the internet, that entire idea. I feel like that elevates it to being a great film, and that you can rewatch it as long as you go into it not expecting it to look groundbreaking anymore.
all right, I'll give you that much. It's definitely a rewatchable. It's not going to hurt anything. And it's almost an origin story for the internet.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
nice.
All right, so we're going to do a new segment called The Random Review.
It's time for a random review.
Random review.
All right, I'm going to do a screen share again. So if you are watching, you'll get to see a little behind the scenes and how we put this up. Let me share my screen. Here we go. All right. So we're going to do a more in-depth review, a little bit of the movie that we're talking about. But as you can see, if you're watching, and if you can't, I'll explain it. There's a grid. On the far left is a list for a roll of a D20. Jeff and I both have a 20-sided dice in our hands. And there are actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 options, all the way from a 1 to a 20 and 9 in between. And whatever we roll is the analysis that we're going to give.
Yes.
So
a random review. Aries.
So we're going to have to take the movie that we've watched with the prompt that we have put together for our random roll, and we're gonna see how this rolls. No puns intended. I'm gonna stop sharing while we do this segment, but Jeff, why don't you kick us off?
All right, Steve, I challenge you to a random review, and your roll is a 17. You have made a successful charisma check, and the element of Tron Ares that you're reviewing is Jodie Turner-Smith's Athena. So analyze the secondary program character. Was Athena's rigid programming and eventual fate a more compelling emotional journey than Ares' own arc? What do you think?
Did you say 17 or 18?
Oh, shoot. I can't read a table. You made a successful wisdom save on a 17.
You confused the hell out of me.
So the visual aesthetic, the grid versus the real world. So focus on the look. Did the film successfully balance the glowing neon grid with the duller real world, or did it lose the franchise's unique visual signature?
All right. I actually like both of those, but I'll stick with the 17, my wisdom check. So I think it did. I was just crapping on 1982's, inability to do what they were trying to do. I think finally technology caught up with the feel of Tron, what they were, the spirit of what Tron was realized in Tron Ares, right? They created two worlds, because the world inside Tron Ares, in the new Dillinger world, where the character that you're talking about with the other one, we focus on their inner world more than the good guys, right? Because this is the bad guys. I love the use of essentially laser 3D printing, which is what brings these characters into our world. If you haven't seen a preview, go check it out or see the movie. It's great. But I do think they did a great job of being able to integrate. And then, of course, we live in a world where Avatar is a movie, and, Marvel movies exist with creatures that could never. So the fact that the blending of real world and computer generated imagery looked so good is not a surprise to me, but they certainly knocked it out of the park. Because you find yourself watching these devices that can't possibly exist fly through the air, and you don't question it. You're in a Tron movie, so you've got your beliefs are suspended adequately, but it looked amazing. So yeah, I absolutely think they did a great job. We didn't talk about this part. Do you want to talk about that too, or do you want to just move on to a different?
No, you've got a roll for me.
All right, so this is going to be, we didn't say that part. We're rolling for each other. We don't get to roll for ourselves. Here's Jeff's roll. And oh no, listen, I did not plan this. I'm not making this up. This is true to Steve form. I rolled a 1. Gruel hold in his back. I have gotten this would be a critical miss. It's a critical fail, and nat 1. Now Jeff has to talk about Jared Leto's performance. So analyze the lead's performance. Did Ares transition from program to humanity feel earned, or did the acting feel like it was stilted as early? Sorry, I'm going to screw up that up. Did the acting feel as stilted as early AI dialogue?
Okay, so I love that the critical fail was tied with Jared Leto, because I've seen this review kind of knocking on him. And so first I want to say that I know we're doing random review because we wanted that kind of D20 aspect to this, but I do want to say, in all reality, this is a great movie, and to go and see it. And so
Oh yeah.
Jared Leto's performance was not a 1. It was not a critical fail. I am not a huge fan of Jared Leto, but I have no issue with him at all as an actor, as a performer, and in this performance. I actually thought he was great in as this character, and I felt that they did I felt when there's a moment in the film when he essentially reads Frankenstein and comes to that awareness that when he's being abused by his creator, he has agency and then can break free. He doesn't have to be constrained by his programming. Just like Frankenstein kind of breaks free. So I felt that it did work. I felt like going from program to human, and I also felt it was true to Tron 1982 and Tron Legacy, that these programs have been personified. And like I said, I did not appreciate it when I was 12. I didn't get it. Like, that seemed weird to me that a computer program would have feelings. But that was true in 1982, in 2010, and in this film. The idea of a program having feelings and feeling and acting in human ways is true to the film, and I thought Jared Leto did a good job, and I highly recommend people go see it.
Only I have to add one thing that
Of course.
I thought of, in that transition you were talking about reminds me of Joshua from War Games, the computer that learns by, well, in War Games he learns by playing
Learn,
tic-tac-toe.
damn you! Isn't it something like that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's another whole vibe that we can talk about some other time. But I liked that theme of, yeah, I agree. Leto did a good job, and the progression worked.
Yeah, we're fans. Highly recommend it.
Yeah. And I don't usually drop this in midstream. I'm going to try starting to do some of this earlier. I'm bad at this because I only usually do it at the end. Definitely, like Jeff said, go see this movie. It's a great movie if you liked any of the Tron movies. And even if you didn't, this one I think is the best by far. Just an improvement overall. But follow us on social media. Send us emails if you like what we're talking about, if you hate it. If you love that new segment, or if you have a great idea for us, send us an idea, right? But originalgeekpodcast@gmail.com, and comment on our videos and tell us how full of crap you think we are or how much you love what we're doing.
Yeah, the idea is every time we see a new movie, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a random review of the movie.
From floppy disks to streaming clicks, it's Geek Evolution.
Yeah,
So
I love it. All right, now we're going to talk about how these things have changed over time. We did a little bit already, but let's do it. All right. So there's a few elements in between the movies that we discovered in some research. Obviously, we talked about 1982's Tron apparently bombed commercially. Like we said, the video game made more money than the movie. In 2000,
I think it. So it bombed because they wanted it to be bigger. Because that summer, I think E.T. was like a huge hit, and Star Trek's Wrath of Khan what made so much money. I believe that on a 20 million budget they made 50 million, which it's so not exact and not what they wanted, but it was, at least it did well enough that they decided they were going to come back to it, even though I didn't appreciate it till this year. It took me a while to get on board, but hey, better late than never.
Yeah, E.T. was that year, Tootsie, Officer and the Gentleman, Rocky 3, Porky's, Star Trek 2, 48 Hours, which was huge and started its own franchise, not to mention the Star Trek movies and Rocky movies, Poltergeist, The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, and Annie, all great. Annie, which is just trauma for me, for all other reasons, all made more than Tron. 50.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, compared to what they wanted and what other movies earned, yes. So that's true, I suppose.
Yeah, I do think their expectations were probably too high, but Disney
what
movies at the time were probably killing it.
Is that they did really well in the when they went to selling on VHS, because it became a cult hit.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a hit in its time, but had a cult following.
Yeah, and here's something. Actually, the notes we have say it missed most people, and it did me too. Apparently, there was a Tron 2.0 game in 2003.
Yes.
Completely missed it. Obviously, we've talked a lot about 2010's Tron Legacy, which
I have a question for you. Did you see it when it came out?
I did. I was always a fan of Tron.
Yeah.
And so my memories of Tron Legacy, of Tron, were primarily of Tron Legacy, because I remember Olivia, oh goodness, I can't think of her last name now. She's gone on to be a great actress and director. But she had the part of the program that was with Flynn, who ends up coming to our world. Spoiler if you haven't been in a movie theater in 15 years. But yeah, I really did. I liked it a lot. That said, we're going to crap on it a little.
We are.
I am only going to crap on one part of this movie, and that was one of the first times they tried to use the CGI de-aging of a real person, because they had Jeff Bridges older, like we said, about 30 years between movies, so he was probably in his 40s or 50s. Heavier, thick beard, like still a great actor, but they wanted the storyline called for him to have created a duplicate when he was younger as a program that looked like him in the grid.
Mhm.
And so they used this computer generated version of him. I'm assuming he still acted all the parts, but they just covered him with CGI. And it wasn't great.
Okay, so my take on that, and let's level set. I watched Tron in 1982, and I never watched it again until like 3 weeks ago, in
Really?
2025. Yes. So
you never watched Legacy in 2010?
no. So I watched Tron 1980. It was because, so just so you know, I thought like it was like they were trying to make fetch happen. I'm like, why do they keep doing this? Like, it's just not as good as they think it is. And I was wrong. It was, but the Tron Ares trailer, I thought that looked amazing. Like, this looks really cool. They're bringing these Tron elements into the real world. That whole light cycle with the beam cutting through the cop car in half, like that just looked wild. So I wanted to see it, and so I like, oh, I'll give Tron 82 a rewatch. I did that, and then I, of course, Tron Legacy, and I here's my take on, because I told you I was going to watch it, and you were like, oh man, the Jeff Bridges CGI. Here's my take. And it may not be correct, but the way I felt about it was he was creating a version of himself with the best technology in 1989 when he made that version of himself, and it wouldn't look like a real human being, because they weren't capable of making computer generated images look real. So that, I felt like it might have been a deliberate choice, because because CGI wise, you could, even in 2010, they could have made him look more realistic. So that I felt like that was what they were going for.
If you're watching, you can see me hunched over and
Squirming.
squirming. I'm squirming because I'm like, I hear what you're saying and I want to buy it. I really do, but I don't have enough money for that particular story. I think so here's the thing, right? I agree it could have been a stylistic choice. I'd be interested to find out if it ever really was. Like, did they choose that? Or was it literally in 2010 the best they could do with simulating a face? Now I've played a lot of games like Call of Duty and those kind of, PUBG. Call of Duty does it a lot because they do the animatics and they do the storyline. And it looked like a character from a Call of Duty. It was a really good face. You could tell it was Jeff Bridges, right? It was done really, really well, but it looked like a game face. So if they did that on purpose, instead of making it, I think we're advertising for EA Sports now. Not an official sponsor, but hey, happy to take you guys on. But to me, it was like, I don't know. It was somewhat jarring every time he came on screen. And so it knocked me out of the narrative. It knocked me out of the film a little bit. That clue was supposed to be him, but it was obviously just an okay computer generated. And in that time frame, they had done this a few times with movies because it was the new rage. Like, oh, we can make someone look younger. The real actor can do the part, but they'll look like they did 20 years ago. And it kind of worked. And it was good enough, but yeah, it was my only problem with the movie. The rest of the movie was great. The music, everything we've talked about. And let's be honest, it's not like it's going to stop me from loving the franchise. It was just one of those like, damn it. I felt it was a swing and a miss on that one.
Yeah.
And then, I have not watched this. I did see it's on the list. 2012, there was a TV show, animated show, and a fully animated show called Tron Uprising. So I do want to go back and watch, but apparently Bruce Boxleitner, the original Tron, was a voice actor on the show. So that's a cool little side note. But I mean, overall, throughout all the movies, the games, everything we've been talking about, it has really been an influence on other movies. And it has really been a mirror to real technology.
Yeah.
Everything that they've done has shown in the real world.
Yeah. Pixar claims they would not exist without Tron. And yeah, that they were inspired by Tron, that entire concept. And when you think about it, Toy Story, it's a kind of imprinting personification of toys, similar to personification of programs.
Right.
Yeah, maybe. But they said that whole idea of computer generated animation made them want to get into, of course I say them, because I can't remember, Lasseter, is that his name? John Lasseter, who created Pixar. Because before that, remember, Disney did not want to do computer generated imagery. They fought against that.
Oh no, they were all about traditional cell animation.
Pixar existed before Disney, and outside it, Disney bought Pixar. So they stopped fighting it. But they fought it, and then Toy Story was a huge hit.
Yeah, John Lasseter.
Yeah, so John Lasseter, he credits his path that he took to Tron. And there are plenty of other video games. I mean, my computer, my tower has that, it's glowing like elements I honestly think are, Tron inspired. And anytime you see, I think that kind of aesthetic,
the neon,
it's a Tron inspired aesthetic.
Yeah. I mean, a great legacy, no puns intended, for the title of the movie, but just overall the way Tron has affected our lives and how things are done. Like I have no actual evidence of this, but I do feel like because of the way they talked about these things, the first fully generated animated character was Bit from the original Tron. He was just a little flexing pulsing star, and he just said yes or no.
Yeah.
But we went from that, unfortunately, to like Jar Jar Binks, and then to other good ones. But without Jar Jar Binks, without Bit, we don't get Jar Jar. Without Jar Jar, we don't get Thanos, who looked amazing, right?
Yeah.
The transition there started with these movies. So, all right.
I think it's time for a message.
I think it might be.
Your kids don't know how good you've got it.
Love that sound.
It's my favorite so far. He sounds like he's dying.
And we are often, our first few episodes was us really raging, and we're less ragey. So
we are less ragey. Maybe we.
So
have
go
to
ahead. You give them the message, and I'll follow up with mine.
All right. So anybody who's got an Oculus headset, and I have one, the Meta Quest 2 or 3, and now they're doing augmented reality versus virtual reality, right? If you have ever played a game, it got its start with things like Tron, right? Yep, Pac-Man was a good game. Space Invaders, those were all very similar games. Donkey Kong classics, but they were the same idea. It was you're a character and you're playing. Tron kind of shifted things to being the game, and it really allowed for the beginning of this immersive idea. So, um, it's an origin story. I hate to say it, it sounds cheesy, right? But go watch this movie and understand the impact that it had on the things you do today. You know, apps on your phone would have been different if Tron hadn't happened the way it did. And that might seem like a butterfly effect sort of connection, but I truly feel that that's true.
Yeah, and my message, I know yours is to the new generation, mine is to Gen X and older. If you were like me and you haven't seen Tron since 1982, you've never seen Tron, and you thought, I just can't get into this, it is absolutely 100% worth it. It's a great binge now for you because you can start with the 1982, you can watch the Legacy, and then go see Ares. That movie was clearly just supposed to be the beginning of we think a new trilogy, but at least it ended and there were loose ends. So we want that next movie, and that doesn't happen if this is a bomb. So, and it shouldn't be. This is a great sci-fi movie, and I do think you do absolutely need to watch at least Tron Legacy. But I say you need to watch 82 as well in order to fully appreciate Tron Ares. And you could watch it without that, but you wouldn't really be following it or appreciating it at the same level. So go Gen X and older, give Tron a shot. Go see it.
Absolutely, 100%. I'll say I think it probably would do. I think you're going to enjoy it more if you watch the other two, but I think it stands alone. I think they throw enough history into the movie that you don't need to have seen them, but I think you'll like it better if you do. So I agree with you, but I think if you're even leery at all, go watch the new one. It's going to make you want to go back and watch the old ones.
Fair enough.
100%. All right. Well, now we're going to talk about the stuff we loved and hated.
It's critical hits and epic fails.
Well, actually, my critical hit is not Tron Ares.
Oh.
It is the Tron Light Cycle Power Run ride, originally at Disney Shanghai. And when I saw it on like videos, I'm like, that ride looks amazing. And then when they were bringing it to Disney World, it's right next to Space Mountain, and I couldn't wait for it to open because it looks amazing. And now I'm going to Disney World next week. I can't wait to ride it again because when I rode that ride earlier this year, I was actually it's been almost a year ago that I rode it for the first time. Like I said, I hadn't seen Tron since 1982, and I didn't, because I didn't watch Legacy, I didn't get some of what I looked cool. Once again, cool, looks cool, but I don't get it. Kind of like me as a 12-year-old. Cool. What's it mean? But now I'll go on it, and it's been rethemed. It's usually blue. It's been rethemed red, or at least it turns red, to the Nine Inch Nails Ares theming. That music's playing for the new Ares, and I'm looking forward to a new appreciation for that ride. It's a great ride, looks fun, and it is. It's a nice smooth roller coaster. It's far superior to Space Mountain, which is right next to it. So
yeah,
that's my critical hit.
I gotta say I'm kind of bummed because I have never gotten a chance, but I do want to.
It'll be there when you get there.
I need to do it. I think I might have ruined my critical hit by saying it already, but I'm going to say it again. Like, I feel like the impact that these movies have had on our culture and everything that they've done is my critical hit. Like, I do think, even though, I mean, we've seen this before with movies that came out in the theater and died and then became this cult hit that people just fell in love with the idea of it. And maybe
Mhm.
it's really a shine to us as Gen X kind of geeks that we're loving that transition because it's from us. Like, we were kids when this came out. We literally, this is truly the embodiment of what the podcast is about. Is It's this geeky stuff that we loved that nobody else got. Well, you didn't get it, but you know what I mean? But you still went and saw it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That to me is the biggest hit that I can say is I love the fact um that it's still going too. And do you know, one of the things I do love about this is it's never been a remake or a reboot. They've made a decision to consistently tell the same story. The storyline from the one we saw 2 weeks ago connects all the way back to the
Yeah.
1982 movie. And it's the same timeline, it's the same plot line in terms of the things that they talk about, the connections that they make. And they do it in all three movies. I haven't seen the animated series. I'm assuming they do there too. But they've made this decision to be, this is a continuation story. This isn't like, oh, we decided it wasn't that good, let's redo it. Like, no, they just did another and did it better. So I love
Yeah.
that. That's my hit, is I love that they've continued it.
No, that's great. I agree. It's funny, when I was watching 82 for the first time, I thought they should just rebooted this because they had the technology to make this look so much better. But you're right. This was the better way to go. Just a recognition that it was breaking for that time period, and now we have new, and we'll see, and it evolved with that the CGI. My fail is a bit silly, but in all three movies, I won't tell you what is in Tron Ares, but in all three movies, at the end, they're using slow motion to increase suspense. So in Tron 82, the characters are trying to escape, and she simulates a solar sail, which is a very slow moving vehicle. And so, and they're easily, of course, overtaken. And then,
Well, let me clarify. When you say in slow motion, you're not talking about the
yeah.
like, you don't mean slow motion photography. You're talking about they choose the slowest possible choices.
Yes. Yeah. So, like, oh, let me simulate a fighter jet and get the hell out of here. I'll create the solar sail, and then we'll float towards the exit. And then in the second one, yeah, good point. Thank you about that not being slow motion. In the second one, they're escaping on a transport ship. It's going in the right direction, but it's going slowly. And Jeff Bridges is so chill about it. He's turning the Big Lebowski. He's like, "Hey, man, this is like digital Zen, dude. Oh, they're catching up to us. Just relax, man." And then in the third one, it's not people escaping. It's them being it's the bad guys coming at them, but the bad guys are coming at them in the slowest possible vehicle.
Yes.
And they only have 29 minutes to do it. I'm not spoiling anything by saying 29. You find that out right at the beginning of the movie, but they only have 29 minutes in the real world to get to them. So
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That one drove me crazy. Like, what? In all three senses. I mean, yeah, I pooped on my own parade because I did my epic fail for sure. It's Clue in Tron Legacy. It's the bad CGI. It was the only thing about the movie I didn't like. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing again, but I'll just put it back out there. It was so bad. Not bad. It looked good if it was a video game, but in a movie, it was jarring enough that I got pulled out of the stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Hey, you got geeky questions? Well, we got ancient answers. It's time to ask an OG.
And once again, we're asking you. We want you to talk to us. We want you to come back and interact with these segments for us, right? But what were your favorite moments from Tron? Did you agree with some of the stuff we're talking about? Do you think that movies like The Matrix, Ready Player One, Cyberpunk, do you think these were spawned only because of Tron? Like Ready Player One's a great movie, but it doesn't exist without Tron. And if you could design your own digital world, what would it look like? Would it be 1982? Or would it be 2025?
My choice, what's the one with Ryan Reynolds? Something Guy.
Free Guy.
Free Guy. That would be my choice. I like that one.
Free Guy would be awesome. That would be fun because he did a lot of goofy stuff. I would love. Honestly, the world and I don't know what it is about this movie. It's just sort of something that's always gnawing at the back of my head. I've probably watched it 4 times, but the idea of Ready Player One, because they're competing for this big prize in the game.
That is right up your alley.
I freaking love that movie.
That's all you.
I love it. It's absolutely everything about these movies that I love.
You would absolutely be into that one. That doesn't.
So that's where I
surprise
would
me.
be. Ready Player One. All right.
Nice.
All right. Well, listen. Once again, we're also going to try something new for everybody that's been downloading and listening locally around the world. I looked at our stats lately. We have folks from literally all over the world listening. So thanks for joining us and thanks for hanging out. We are going to try something new too. Everything will come out as it always has. We're going to start chunking this up and we're going to put this out segment by segment as well. So if you have a segment that you like, you can listen to just that segment. I always try to put it out with chapters. So if you always wanted to, you could zip across chapter markers as well. But originalgeekpodcast.com, Original Geek Podcast on every platform. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon and Podcast Addict, all those. And send us emails to originalgeekpodcast@gmail.com. Check out our merch and join us. Thanks for being here.
All right. Thanks, OGs. We'll see you later.